She had to kill them. That's all she knew. She didn't know why. She didn't know the circumstances. Hell, she didn't even know her own name. But as she held the list in her hand, with 3 handwritten names on it, she knew they had to die. It was such an overwhelming feeling that she knew it had to be true. She was a pretty woman, average height, with dirty blonde hair and a slim figure, but she couldn't figure out what she was doing there. She put her hands inside the pockets of her jeans, but nothing was there. As she looked around at her surroundings, it looked like she was in a pretty trashy place. The floor was dirty. The bed was basically just a cot. The lighting was bad, with only a single lamp in the room, and she could smell the stench coming from the bathroom, looking like it had not been cleaned in weeks. She put the list down on the bed and walked over to the window and looked out, seeing the motel's name lit up brightly along the side of the road. Her head was cloudy, and she had a migraine. She sat down on a rickety old chair that looked like it was about to fall apart. It creaked and rocked as she held her head with both hands. She struggled to remember why she was there, or even how long she'd been there. Nothing was coming back to her. She couldn't even remember where she was yesterday. As she held both sides of her head, panic started setting in. Why couldn't she remember anything? After a few more minutes went by, the pain in her head slowly started to subside. She got out of her chair and started looking around the room, searching for anything that would tell her anything about herself. She looked under the bed for a suitcase, but there was only dust. She rushed into the bathroom, but there wasn't a single item there that might have been hers. There wasn't even a bar of soap in the shower stall. She came back out to the nightstand and saw the room key on top of it. She opened the drawer, finding only a pad and pen inside. She double-checked the sheets that were messily thrown around the bed, but there was no other clothing that might have belonged to her. She glanced back down at the paper that had the 3 names written on it and picked it up, analyzing it. She then opened the nightstand drawer and grabbed the pen. Leaning on the nightstand, she rewrote the 3 names on the open lines at the bottom of the 4 by 6-inch piece of paper. She compared the handwriting. It wasn't hers. Whoever originally wrote the names of the 3 people she knew she had to kill, it wasn't her. The signatures weren't even close. How could this happen to her? How could she not remember a single detail about her life? Her name, her family, her job, what she was even doing there. She couldn't even remember where she was other than a seedy hotel room. She looked at the alarm clock on the nightstand, seeing that it was just a few minutes before midnight. Then she thought about the front desk. They must have had a record for when she arrived, a name. She grabbed her key and walked out the door of her first-floor unit. She glanced around at some of the parked cars, wondering if one of them was hers. None of them looked familiar, though. She saw the light was still on at the management office and walked over to it. She entered the small office, seeing an elderly gentleman sitting behind a desk. She was instantly struck by how dirty and messy the office seemed. Not much different than the rooms they offered. "Can I help you, ma'am?" the man asked, in a thick accent that gave away English wasn't his native language. Yes. Can you tell me what time I checked in here?" The man turned around and opened registry book that was on the desk in front of him and looked through it. It only took a few seconds as he remembered the woman completely. "Yes, ma'am. You checked in at 9 o'clock last night." 9? She asked. Fear rushed through her body, wondering where she'd been for the past 24 hours. Had she been asleep all that time? Was she in some kind of trouble? "Are you all right, ma'am?" Yes, I'm fine. Do you mind if I take a look?" The elderly man smiled and spun the book around for her. She immediately found the entry for 9 o'clock the previous night. She put her finger on the book and ran it across the line until she got to her name. Cari Porter. Cari Porter. She barely whispered. "My name's Cari Porter."